Today we have an almost 10-hour layover in Hong Kong and we are not missing out on the opportunity to go out into the city and explore it. So I'm gonna start my 9.5-hour counter right now while we're at the airport. Let's see what we can do.
Hi, if we don't know each other yet, I'm Rita. Join me as I explore the world's most captivating destinations, offering you not just travel guides, but a ticket to endless wonderlust. Subscribe for a journey beyond the ordinary, where every video fuels your curiosity and inspires endless discovery.
Our first task of passing security is done. That was quite quick overall. Next task is to find some storage for our heavy backpacks, and then we're gonna commute right into the city, which is supposed to take roughly half an hour. So it's ideal for a layover.
I've never seen such an easy and straightforward luggage locking system at an airport. No pushing your luggage into a small locker where it doesn't fit in or wondering if it is safe. This locker room has full-time employees managing the whole situation, welcoming you and advising you how and how long you can store your luggage. But now, with the luggage dropped off safely, it is time to get to the train and get to the city. Luckily, the machine is, as expected from Hong Kong, very self-explanatory, and in just a few minutes we have a ticket bought for the Airport Express train for 115 Hong Kong dollars. Be aware though that most machines only take cash. There was exactly one machine that took cards and had a little bit of a queue, but luckily we didn't have to get any cash, which doesn't make sense to get for a short layover. The train comes every 10 minutes, but I wanted to get to the city as quickly as possible, which is why I hurried up a little bit. Also, in case you're wondering, the train is probably your best option to get to the city. Taking a taxi would take longer and would be more expensive than this convenient train.
It was very easy overall once we had the tickets. It was close by to the ticket machine, and the train itself is so spacious and very modern. I'm gonna have a look around now while there are not too many people. There are actually very comfy seats, and it is quite clear. Look, they're like Airport 1, 2 and then Hong Kong Station, so it should be pretty straightforward from here. Just exited through the tunnel and then bam, on 200 kilometers per hour we are out and about, and all we see is like these high rises and mountains, and you're like straight into the Hong Kong view. It's amazing. And the ride to the city is actually only 24 minutes long. That is super fast and perfect for that quick layover trip to the city.
And ta-da! We've already arrived at the station, which is perfectly located in the middle of the city and just the spot to get going.
We are now going out at the central station. I'm so excited to actually step my foot onto Hong Kongian soil. Hong Kongian? Do you say that? Let's see!
Hong Kong is of course a place that needs days, if not weeks, to be properly explored, but I think that within these remaining hours we will be able to see lots as well, and we are already starting high.
We are out on the streets, and our first stop is the observation wheel, because it's just an 8-minute walk away from the station, just to see it and have a walk around before we continue on to downtown and the actual kind of city center area. And it is so fun here. In terms of data, we have a package from the UK that covers us here as well, but I know that you can buy a 1-day data pass at the airport, which should cover you for the day. The buildings here are so tall. I can't get used to this idea of having like these massive skyscrapers all around you, and we've seen them already on the way as we were driving here.
The first spot of the day is located at the central harbour front and offers stunning views of Victoria Harbour, the city's skyline and the surrounding areas. The wheel features 42 air-conditioned gondolas, and it's just the perfect way to see the city from the top, but this is not where we're heading to now. We want to explore the harbour, which is the beating heart of Hong Kong and where the city's dazzling skyscrapers meet the sea. This iconic harbour is stunning to look at, and if you have a longer layover, you can even take a ferry for a classic scenic ride across the water.
Walking on the harbour, on the marina here, and there's actually a really nice walk alongside the water, and it is so impressive to just stand here and see all these buildings in its massiveness.
It is truly mind-blowing to be at a place which I have seen on so many screensavers throughout my whole life.
Oh my god! We found vending machines just like in Japan. This is so cool. This was probably one of my most favorite things about Japan. The vending machines everywhere. They have it. We came across the first problem though with the vending machines is that there's like a local form of payment, and Apple Pay or contactless itself with cards is not accepted. It's only the local payment or cash, and we have neither of those. So we have to find coffee somewhere else.
While I would love to spend the whole day at the harbour, and if I had more days here I probably would, it is time to move on because the time keeps ticking. So off we go to the next spot of the day, and into an Uber we jumped. When we arrived, I think my face says it all.
Second stop of the day is to explore downtown, and more specifically Soho, where we are at right now. And my first impression of this area is that it's crazy hilly. Look up these stairs, and then over there are all the high rises. It's really impressive to see and walk around here. And then next to it you kind of have these little stores or coffee houses. Definitely a fun area to be at.
Speaking about coffee, it's time for our first coffee in Hong Kong, and luckily we are in the exact right neighborhood for good coffee.
Coffee time, and we finally found really good flat whites in Soho. There's also a little window view sitting area, which I love. Cheers! In terms of our time, we just have a little bit less than 7 hours left.
Which is plenty of time to keep on exploring, so let's go. One thing that stood out to me immediately about Hong Kong were these escalators that went up and down in the middle of the city, and something that I haven't seen as such before.
What I like is that there are kind of these pedestrian bridges that allow you to walk on top of the whole city happening below you. So while you can comfortably walk on these escalators that bring you down, at the same time you can look down and see the city happening and then decide where you want to kind of go down to and explore more. And there are lots of restaurants here like Thai, Taiwanese, Chinese, Japanese, anything really. It really feels like a culinary hub of the Asian cuisines while having this big metropolitan city vibe to it. The cool part about Hong Kong is that there's a lot of similarities to the UK. I've seen Marks and Spencer's and Bread, which kind of makes sense because it has been a British colony until very recently. And the influence is definitely here. Also on the roads they kind of have the signs to look left or right, same as in London, and even in the same font. A short walk away from Soho, we have now come to downtown, which is full of shops. And shops that we are probably quite familiar with, such as Zara or popular brands. Same goes for the restaurants, and it feels like Fifth Avenue in Manhattan. Like you have tall buildings all around you, then the road in the middle, and like all the lights and ads around you. It definitely feels like the city center of a huge city. Time-wise, we are still doing really well. We are now at 6 hours and 8 minutes left in the city, and we have already seen 3 destinations.
Luckily, walking through the streets of Hong Kong is a sight in itself. For example, this was my first time hearing or seeing about these double-decker trams here in Hong Kong. In fact, they are actively used since 1904 and are still a popular mode of transportation for the locals and obviously for tourists as well. Now it is time to head to our 4th stop of the day, which is the Victoria Peak, or also known as The Peak, and it is Hong Kong's highest point at 552 meters, offering stunning views of the city and Victoria Harbour. Visitors can reach it via the historic Peak Tram, which I will be taking as well. At the top, the Peak Tower and Sky Terrace provide breathtaking vistas, while walking trails like the Peak Circle Walk offer scenic routes through its lush greenery. On a side note, if you do not have as much time in Hong Kong as you wish you had, I would recommend you to take a BigBus Hong Kong Tour through the city. This is the best way to see all the sights within a short amount of time. But now I am excited to get up to the peak. And honestly, I can already leave a little spoiler here. The views are spectacular. If you have the time in Hong Kong, make sure to visit this destination. Tickets are easy to get on the spot, but this destination is popular, so if you can reserve a ticket, make sure to do that. There are multiple tickets available, but what you want to ensure is that you have a ticket to the Peak Tram and to the Sky Terrace 428. The Peak Tram is the vehicle that brings you up to the terrace, but it's not everything. The Peak Tram itself is an experience, so you do not want to miss out on it. If you want, you can walk up to the terrace as well, but it's gonna take you significantly longer, and on a short layover we need time, so saving time is important. And if we are saving time while having an experience at the same time, it's basically a win-win. So let's start queuing to get a good spot on the train.
In order to get up to the Victoria Peak, we are taking the Peak Tram, which is this beautiful train that has a full-on glass roof around you as well as really big glass windows. It is super steep, so definitely happy that the train is bringing us up.
The Peak Tram is one of Hong Kong's oldest and most famous transportation systems, established in 1888. This train covers a distance of 1.4 kilometers and the journey offers angled views of cityscapes with the buildings appearing to tilt as the tram climbs steeply up the mountainside. I told you it's quite a sight to be on this train. And once you exit the tram, there are still lots of escalators to take until you reach the very top of the terrace.
And that right here is probably the most scenic escalator ride I have ever taken in my life. Oh, the view, my God. Almost there. One more. Thank you.
Are you enjoying this video? If so, please do leave me a like because these videos take a lot of time to produce and your support is so important for me.
And we are up at the top. Oh my God. This is insane. Wow. That is so beautiful. Ta-da! Standing here at the top now is really something else because you can see all the scenery coming together in one. You have the green mountains, then the water behind it, the ships floating all around, and the massive skyscrapers just like coming out everywhere. And everything together just gives you this uniqueness to it. It's a really special point and something I haven't seen like that before.
If I had the time, I would have loved to stay here and see how all the buildings shine up when the day turns night. But for now, I'm heading back into the tram, back down and jumping into a taxi because time is ticking and we need to get going to the next spot. Now, I'm saying taxi because the car looks like one, but we have booked a ride through Uber.
Seeing Hong Kong from the top was a must thing to do, and now we are off to do something different and kind of off the beaten path. At the moment, we still have 3 hours and 46 minutes left until our flight, and we are going to see the Monster building, which is something I've seen so many times already, and I'm very excited to see it in person.
I always feel like a car ride or a motorcycle ride through a new country says a lot about the culture, and that is if you're seeing the traffic from the side or if you're in it. For example, you get a real feeling for the vibe of a city just based on how people drive. Is it more chaotic with its own rules, or are there some structures in place? Do people cut each other, or are they more friendly in the style of their driving and follow the law? Observing these types of things is not only interesting but a matter of respect to me. While I am present in the country, I will be sure to follow all the local customs and rules to the best of my abilities. In Hong Kong, for example, I found the traffic and the way of driving very respectful to each other, which I absolutely love. And just like that, a quick ride away, we have arrived to the next spot of the day.
We are at the Monster building. It's so cool to see it with your own eyes. I somehow imagined it to be way bigger than this, but even this is just wow. You see kind of how people live, and the authentic vibe of it all is just wow. You know, at this moment when you come to a place that you've seen so many times online and then you actually see it with your own eyes.
And while I'm speechlessly grasping for words, let me tell you what the Monster building is. It is a renowned residential complex consisting of 5 interconnected buildings. It is known for its densely packed apartments and towering structure. It showcases high-density urban living, which comes with its own challenges, which are just too broad to elaborate on at this point, but they are definitely there. The building's structure and almost dystopian aesthetic has made it a popular spot for photographers, filmmakers and tourists, and has even been featured in a few films. Despite its imposing exterior, the Monster building is home to many residents and offers a unique glimpse into the vertical density of Hong Kong, which to me has been an absolute highlight. And I'm so happy that I managed to see the Monster building during my layover time.
We walked the street a little bit and found another Monster building looking like architecture. I guess they built in the same way here around the area, and here we even have a full-on like another building block, so it's like 360 building around us.
I was so happy that I managed to see a little bit of a more local perspective in Hong Kong while being here on such a short layover. I'm sure the city has much more to offer, but this has been just a tiny little glimpse. and I cannot wait to be back in the city to explore it further, because there's definitely so much more to see.
We have now 2.5 hours left until we have to be at the airport after security. So now we're gonna start heading back by taking first an Uber to the central station and then the airport express train to the airport. I'm sad to leave already, but it was definitely worth it. Back to the airport in time, because our flight departures in 1 hour and 22 minutes. So we have just enough time to pick up our backpacks, go for security and find some food.
It is time to board the airplane. We are 17 minutes before departure. This was definitely such a fun trip to do a layover in Hong Kong, and I would highly recommend to do it with whatever time you have here. And thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe and hit the like button, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!